Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are taking a good hard look at some deeply ingrained fuel-saving myths. We're going to see if our driving habits have actually kept up with modern engineering or if we're all still stuck in the past. If you have ever stressed out over the AC button on a hot day or debated coasting down a huge hill in neutral just to save a few pennies, you are absolutely in the right place. Let's see if we can bring our driving logic into the modern era. Man, we've all received this exact kind of well-meaning driving advice from our parents or driving instructors back in the day, right? It was passed down like some unquestionable family heirloom. You probably still hear it at family gatherings or read it on internet car forums. And honestly, the advice is super sticky because it sounds incredibly physical and intuitive. But, well, here is the thing about that old school wisdom. Let's just dive right into this, because here's the crazy part. While our cars have evolved into these super highly efficient computers on wheels, a lot of our driving habits, frustratingly, did not. We might literally still be trying to solve mechanical problems that modern engineering quietly eradicated decades ago. To understand why, we have to pop the hood and look at what actually changed. Look, advice that was built for the clunky 3-speed automatics and mechanical fuel mixers of the past, the ones that absolutely hated cold engines, is completely useless for today's vehicles. We are talking about modern cars with direct injection, 10-speed automatics, turbochargers the size of a coffee mug, and smart cylinder deactivation. The car sitting in your driveway isn't just a machine anymore. It is a moving computer, actively solving the very problems our old habits were invented to fix. Section 1, Behind the Wheel, Fact versus Fiction. Let's go ahead and put our actual everyday driving habits to the test against the reality of modern engineering, starting right with your right foot and that tempting cruise control button. All right, myth number 1. Cruise control is an absolute magic button for efficiency. Well, it's true on flats, but definitely false on hills. See, Edmunds found that on flat roads, cruise control saves up to 14% simply because engines hate our twitchy human feet. Maintaining a perfectly steady speed is brilliant for efficiency. But traditional cruise control is kind of blind, right? It sees a hill and just stomps on the gas to maintain its speed, which actually wastes 1 to 3% on hilly terrain. So rule of thumb, use it on the highway, but turn it off in the mountains. Moving on to the stoplight, let's talk about idling. The magic number you need to remember here is 10 seconds. The Department of Energy and Argonne National Laboratory literally proved that idling for just 10 seconds burns 11.3 cubic centimeters of fuel. And to put that in perspective, that is actually more than the 10.2 cubic centimeters it takes to just simply restart the engine. This is exactly why auto start-stop systems are standard on almost all modern cars now. Shutting off the engine genuinely, mathematically saves fuel. And hey, this brilliantly illustrates why you should absolutely never coast down a hill in neutral. Thanks to a modern feature called DFCO, or deceleration fuel cutoff, coasting in gear uses zero fuel. I mean, absolute zero. The injectors literally stop spraying and the momentum of the car turns the engine for free. If you shift to neutral like your dad taught you, the engine suddenly has to actively burn gas just to maintain its idle. So coasting in neutral actually wastes fuel, removes your engine braking, and puts completely unnecessary stress on the transmission. No way around it. Section 2, Under the Hood Illusions. Now, what is really wild about this next batch of myths is how modern hardware has completely flipped the script on what we thought was mechanically efficient. Let's look at the actual mechanical choices we make when buying and operating a vehicle today. Myth 2. Manuals are more fuel efficient than automatics. Well, historically true, but today, actually, scratch that, it's mostly false now. For decades, the manual transmission was the undisputed king of fuel economy. And sure, a skilled driver could easily beat an old slushy torque converter from the 1980s. But modern automatic and continuously variable transmissions, they hold the engine in the perfect efficiency sweet spot far better than a human ever could. The machines have officially won this race. Watching this evolution is just fascinating. While those clunky 3-speed automatics bled power back in the 1980s, jump forward to 2020, and cars like the Camaro are seeing their 10-speed automatics hit 22 miles per gallon, easily beating the manual's 20. And modern CVTs, like Nissan's latest units, deliver a whopping 10% better city economy. Listen, absolutely buy a manual if you love the feel of driving it, but for sheer efficiency, the machines have definitively overtaken us at the pump. Okay, let's tackle the ultimate summer driving debate. AC on versus windows down. When it is super hot outside, running the AC compressor can cut your fuel economy by up to 25% on short trips. That's huge. But rolling the windows down is definitely not a free ride either. It creates massive aerodynamic drag. A study by the Society of Automotive Engineers showed that open windows can chop a full-size sedan's efficiency by a massive 20%. So the absolutely crucial thing to remember here is 45 miles per hour. That right there is your aerodynamic crossover point. Below 45, keeping those windows down is cheaper because aerodynamic drag is pretty low. But as soon as you push above 45 miles per hour, aerodynamic drag completely wins the battle. At that point, rolling your windows up and blasting the AC actually saves you fuel. Keep that little nugget of info in mind next time you're merging onto the highway. Moving on to myth 5. Keeping the tank full saves fuel. This is one that is totally false. In both directions, it's kind of funny. It's a myth that actually contradicts itself. Some folks argue that full tanks prevent gas from evaporation, while others swear that driving on a half-empty tank saves vehicle weight. Now, both of these theories are technically based in physics, sure. But in the real world, the actual impact of both is insultingly small. Think about it. A full 15-gallon tank only adds about 45 extra pounds to your vehicle. That costs a microscopic fraction of a single mpg. And on the flip side, modern cars have these highly sealed evaporative emission systems. Snopes ran the numbers and found that the maximum evaporative savings you'd get from constantly keeping the tank topped off only add up to about $62 a year. So really, don't overthink it. Just fill up your tank when you actually need to. Section 3. Physics, drag, and real maintenance. So if fiddling with the AC and coasting in neutral aren't the magic bullets we thought they were, what actually works? Well, to optimize efficiency, we have to look completely outside the cabin to the unforgiving laws of physics and just basic routine maintenance. Honestly, the numbers on simple routine maintenance are actually staggering. Listen to this. Tires naturally lose about 1 psi every single month, and those fancy dashboard sensors, they don't even warn you until your tires are a dangerous 25% low. Properly inflating them is the highest return on investment you can make, saving you up to 3%. Combine that with using the right motor oil, swapping in a clean air filter, and getting fresh spark plugs, and these super simple routines stack up to make your car 5 to 10% more efficient overall. And when it comes to hauling your cargo, a study by the Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory proved that the air is the real villain here, not the scale. Throwing 100 pounds of junk in your trunk, that only costs you a tiny 1% penalty. But strapping a fully loaded roof box to the top of your car, that destroys your highway MPG by up to 17%. It's like dragging a parachute. If you really need to haul gear, put it behind the car on a hitch, not up on the roof. Section 4, the modern fuel-saving playbook. All right, we know for a fact your modern engine is way smarter than a 1978 carburetor, so let's just sweep away all this old folklore and look at the short, factual, science-backed list of what actually works for the cars we drive today. Here is your definitive modern checklist. Take a mental screenshot of this. Driving smoothly, meaning no aggressive braking or accelerating, saves a massive 15 to 30% on the highway. Keep a trusty tire pressure gauge right in your glove box. Take off that drag-inducing roof box the absolute second you get home from vacation. And try to combine your errands so your engine stays warm, avoiding those fuel-heavy cold starts. These are simply the highest return actions you can take today. So the next time someone tells you to coast in neutral down a hill to save gas, just smile, nod, and quietly leave that car in gear. The injectors will definitely thank you. It is time to actually trust the modern engineering under your hood. Ditch the old carburetor logic, follow the actual physics of aerodynamics and maintenance, and start keeping some real money in your wallet at the pump. But it does make you wonder, if our driving habits are decades out of date, what other old school facts are we still holding on to that technology has completely left in the dust? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time as we continue to break down the complex world around us.